Ay, naku naman talaga. Kana. Sa. Alis ka dyan. Hindi mo kukunin yan ha. Sa. Ano, saan napunta? Ano ko? Alam mo ko kung kaya. Alam mo. Alam mo. Sana ka na. Saan napunta? Oh, ano kang bebe ka? Saan? Tingin, tumabi ka dyan. Tingnan. Huwag ka naiyak pa ako. Kunin ko na. Ay, naiyak ko siya. Hindi pa ako pagkadami-dami. Binti mo. Kilo lang. Ayos na lang. Bakit manok? No. Isda. Nilagang isda. Ngayon na lang pero yung makapam. Magaling na mag-i-operate. At go. Tanong ko yan. Yes. Oo. Magtigil. Magtigil. Magtigil.
IEC defines the symbols as graphical representations of circuit states. Many people naturally associate them with binary logic. In computing and digital electronics, systems operate on two fundamental values, 1 and 0. The vertical line closely resembles the number 1, while the circle mirrors the shape of 0. Over time, this visual similarity reinforced the meaning of the symbols, especially as computers became part of everyday life. A switch in the I position feels intuitively active, while the O position suggests absence or shutdown. Although the binary explanation came after the symbols were standardized, it helped embed them more deeply into modern technological culture. Symbols offer practical advantages that text simply cannot match. They require no translation, which eliminates misunderstandings caused by language barriers. They also take up very little space, making them ideal for compact devices where labels would be impractical or visually cluttered. Most importantly, symbols can be recognized instantly. When someone reaches for a power switch, they don't need to read, they react. This immediacy matters in both everyday convenience and high-risk environments, where hesitation or confusion could cause damage or injury. The I and O symbols communicate their function faster than words ever could. The familiar I and O are part of a broader system of standardized power symbols. One common variation is the combined symbol, where a vertical line intersects a circle, often used for buttons that toggle between on and off. Another widely recognized symbol indicates standby mode, usually shown as a broken circle with a line. This tells the user that the device isn't fully off, but isn't actively running either. These related symbols follow the same design philosophy, simple shapes that describe electrical states visually, allowing users to understand a device's behavior without reading a manual or knowing the language of the manufacturer. Standardized symbols aren't just about convenience. They play a role in safety and reliability. Misinterpreting a power control can lead to damaged equipment, electrical hazards, or even serious injuries. By enforcing consistent visual language across consumer electronics, industrial machinery, and medical devices, international standards reduce the likelihood of dangerous mistakes. Designers also benefit from these rules because they remove guesswork. Instead of inventing new icons or relying on text, manufacturers can apply symbols that users already trust and recognize. This consistency builds confidence and ensures that technology behaves predictably wherever it's used. The reason switches use I and O is rooted in clarity, efficiency, and global cooperation. These symbols visually represent the most basic electrical concept, whether a circuit is complete or broken, without relying on language. Their adoption through international standards made it possible for devices to be understood instantly across cultures and countries. Over time, their resemblance to binary logic strengthened their meaning in a digital world, even though their origin lies in electrical engineering rather than computing. Today, those two small markings quietly guide how we interact with technology every day, proving that the simplest design choices are often the most powerful. For our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.
Next, the similar includes it is added damage.
For millions of years, dinosaurs ruled the earth. They walked through dense forests, crossed vast plains, and inhabited nearly every corner of the planet. We know what their bones looked like, how they moved, and even what they ate. But there is one question that still intrigues scientists and enthusiasts of the prehistoric past. What did the world of dinosaurs sound like? Did a Tyrannosaurus roar like it does in the movies? But it was the sound it produced, so distinct, so unexpected, that most confused and terrified its prey. Contrary to what popular cinema has taught us, dinosaurs like the Utahraptor did not roar like colossal lions. They whistled, chirped, trilled. Their communication resembled that of exotic territorial birds, far more than that of prehistoric monsters. This type of vocalization was not mere sonic ornamentation. It was an evolutionary tool, a way to coordinate hunts, intimidate rivals, or simply keep the group united in the darkness of the forest. In the oppressive silence of a forest in the Cretaceous period, even before the sun rose above the dense canopy of ferns and conifers, the sound cut through the darkness. It was not a roar, as modern ears might expect. It was a sharp, trembling call that reverberated among the tall trunks, heavy with intention. That vocalization, strange to our standards, was both a warning and a summons. The Utahraptor was near. Imagine yourself there, in total darkness, surrounded by ancient vegetation. The sudden sound of a sharp trill rises from the shadows ahead. You freeze. Silence returns. Then another sound, coming from the left. A rhythmic clicking, almost electronic. These sounds are unnatural to the human ear. They seem erratic, even alien. Dryptosaurus. It was not the largest, nor the most famous, but what it lacked in celebrity, it made up for in efficiency. With just over 6 meters of length, the Dryptosaurus sliced through the air with its slender silhouette. Its forelimbs, long and muscular, stood in stark contrast to the tiny arms of other theropods. Its claws, sharp as razors, were not mere tools for capture. They were instruments of precision. With them, it shredded flesh and tendons in rapid, almost choreographed movements. Lethal. Every strike was a calculated equation. Every step, a dance of death. But there was something more. Something that set it apart from the sound. The voice of the Dryptosaurus. Spinosaurus. With more than 15 meters of length, this semi-aquatic predator commanded absolute respect. Its body, designed not only for land, but also for water, challenged everything we thought we knew about dinosaurs. But it was not just its appearance that impressed. It was what we did not see, or rather, what we heard. In a world where sounds shaped behavior and defined territory, vocalization was a weapon as powerful as claws or teeth. The Spinosaurus, with its unique anatomy, did not merely hunt. It communicated, intimidated, dominated through sound. Its roar was something different, alien, a deep lament, a howl that emerged from the shadows, echoing along riverbanks like a premonition. It was as if the Spinosaurus spoke directly to its environment, probing prey, marking territory, or simply asserting its presence as an aquatic spectre. Water, a dense and reverberant medium, amplified its sounds, turning each vocalization into a ghostly echo. Through the water like a muffled thunderclap. It was not merely a warning, it was a declaration of dominance. Imagine being submerged in that world, surrounded by dark blue and profound silence, and suddenly feeling the vibration in your body before you even hear the sound, like a distant thunder that grows until it becomes unavoidable. That was how the Mosasaurus announced its presence, not with words, with power. Velociraptor. Across the vast plains of the late Cretaceous period, around 75 million years ago, the Velociraptor moved across the sandy ground of Central Asia. Small, slender, and covered in feathers that shimmer beneath the Jurassic sun, it watches attentively. With about 2 meters of length, this carnivore was agile, fast, and calculating. Equipped with a deadly curved claw on each foot, it was not merely a hunter, but a strategist. In groups, it could surround prey much larger than itself. But as impressive as its physical abilities were, its way of communicating was just as remarkable. Recent research in paleontology, bioacoustics, and ornithology has revealed a surprising truth. The Velociraptor likely sounded far more like an exotic bird than a roaring reptile. The vocalizations attributed to it in Hollywood films, with deep and aggressive roars, are fictional constructions. In reality, its sounds may have been subtle, high-pitched, perhaps trills, clicks, or complex whispers. Quetzalcoatlus. with more than 10 meters of
ขับ
wingspan.
น้ำไอ้
This creature was not merely a giant of the skies. It was an enigma of nature. Its silhouette cut through the heavens like a mythological apparition, awakening in those who saw it a mixture of fascination and terror. There was no engine, no sound of heavy wings beating, only the astonishing silence of
เรื่องของเราอย่าง
evolution
ง่าย
in its most aerodynamic form. The Quetzalcoatlus was part of a group of flying reptiles known as pterosaurs. Unlike terrestrial dinosaurs, these lords of the sky developed specific adaptations that made them masters of the winds. But the Quetzalcoatlus was unique, even among its peers. Extremely tall, with a long neck and legs resembling those of a heron, it walked with an unsettling elegance. And when it took flight, it defied expectations of what is possible in terms of animal locomotion. Yet, although its flight was silent, its presence was anything but discreet. Its vocalization was something that deeply marked the environment. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, before anything else, I need you to forget everything you have ever seen in the movies. Forget the Hollywood roars, the sound effects of lions mixed with elephants and engines. The T-Rex was an elite predator, a giant with more than 12 meters of length and up to 7 tons of pure power. Its legs were columns of brute force, capable of propelling that monster at surprising speeds for something of its size. But what made the Tyrannosaurus so lethal was not just its physique. It was the whole package, the precision. And then comes the part that still deeply intrigues us today, its voice. What sound did the Tyrannosaurus Rex make? Hollywood taught us to imagine thunderous roars, like storms mixed with tropical thunder. But science leads us down a different and even more chilling path. Recent studies suggest that instead of roaring, the T-Rex produced deep, almost guttural sounds, partially inaudible to the human ear. Sounds more akin to a threatening murmur, or low-frequency vibrations like the call of an elephant or the deep sound of a crocodile. Elasmosaurus. In the depths of prehistoric seas, long before the rise of human beings, a giant glided with the precision of a predator shaped by millions of years of evolution. With more than 14 meters of length, its body was a blend of strength, grace, and strategy. The Elasmosaurus, the silent master of the Cretaceous oceans, did not roar like predators on dry land. Instead, it whispered in deep, prolonged frequencies like ancestral laments echoing through dark, cold waters. Its neck, which accounted for nearly half of its body, was a structure as astonishing as it was functional. With it, the Elasmosaurus turned subtlety into a weapon. Hidden among the liquid columns of the ocean, it extended its head over great distances, emerging from the shadows like a spectre. No vibration betrayed